I grew up in a city called Calcutta. I remember when I was growing up in my late teens, my mom and dad got separated. And, you know, in a Bengali society, it is really looked down upon. So many of my friends and family really rejected me. Long story short, even to a point that, you know, my younger sister, which was very painful for her, she committed suicide. So I kind of stopped believing in God. And then I had nothing much to do, so I started thinking of my life, and I started learning cooking in a cookery course. And then I ended up being a chef. I started my cooking career in Mumbai, but very soon I was kind of slipped into bad companies, even to a point I got into a group of people who were running a flesh industry, you know. So my job was basically walking into a 5-star hotel, mainly to the coffee shops, because it's usually 24 hours, and just find a man who is lonely and interested in women and just hook him up with a hooker. And I used to get a big cut out of it. Many of these women who were trapped in this human trafficking trade came from normal family, and then when they were very ill-treated by clients or Johns, of course there is a lot of pain, you know, because they were not doing it willingly. I didn't become a pimp because I wanted to be. I was helpless. I got sleated into this trade unknowingly. So that's how we could relate to each other, you know, the pain and the suffering that they went through, and how they have been ill-treated by some people who are inhuman, you know. I would almost say like animals. So after those experiences, when they used to come out, they used to, you know, pour out their hearts and cry, sometimes scream, sometimes throw things. It was extreme emotions. And I used to get caught up in this because I could somehow relate to that pain. Of course, it was two different perspectives. So most of the days we would end up crying together, because they were threatened that if they leave, something more harmful will happen to their families back home. I didn't have that kind of thread that they could hold me on to. And that's why these ladies tell, at least you run away, you know, you are not trapped like us. I took that opportunity and I just ran away. Very interestingly, ended up in Hong Kong.
To be a pimp is basically a manager of women in prostitution. In Kaushic's case, he was a person who had fundamentally a good foundation, found himself in this type of work. He struggled with it from the beginning. He felt like it was something that went against the grain in his life, and eventually got to a point where he recognized, I have to get out of this. The number of people that have that transition, it's not very high. And it's partly because once you get into that world, it's difficult to get out of it. You know, the money is there, you have established relationships, and sometimes you can't leave because if you try to leave, the institutions will hold you in place.
While I was working here on one Sunday, I remember I was pretty lonely, and I saw a beautiful church, St. Andrew's Church, and watching Bollywood movies, I felt like maybe church is a place where I can go and find some solitude. And I was right. When I walked up in the church, it was really a quiet place. Suddenly, I heard music. And very interestingly, after that, the pastor came and he gave a message on friendship. And then he talked about Jesus Christ. And he said that Jesus is not only going to be your friend on earth, but also after you die. I don't want to be that guy. So that kind of made me think about life. And then very interestingly, one fine day, I thought, you know, I would like to have Jesus as my Lord and Savior, and I accepted him. You know, living there, when people came, they started telling their stories. I immediately identified that they were slave husbands, ladies used to come, they were trapped into prostitution, young people used to come who have been human trafficked from other countries with a false hope. And coming from a chef's background, I thought how wonderful it would be even if I could give them a skills training, that with that skills they could have hope and a new beginning.
And really, I like to enjoy this cooking class also. She is a really soft heart. Is everything like telling something, the very hard soft words, like a brother also. Actually, I love because the same like my brother.
Over 10 years, I have met, I think, more than 200 people who have been in human trafficking, slavery, husbands who are slaves, prostitutes who have been brought and trapped in Hong Kong.
You know, it's really highly rare to have somebody like Kaushic, who was in a situation where he was part of a very dark world, doing not so good things, to go from that to actually rehabilitating himself and then using the experience to be able to reach other people who are in trafficking situations. It's a remarkable situation, and it puts him into a 1 percentile of individuals who are really able to reach people because they understand, because they walked the walk themselves.
When I met Dang, I don't know, just her simplicity and her support and just accepting my background. I also had a lot of shame from the background I came from. But when she accepted me, I felt this is the woman who would stand by me for the rest of my life. And so far, so good. It's been 17 years. We have 4 kids.
I heard his background that he's a pimp, I don't look into his past, but I look into his present now because I think God changed him a lot, and I can see that, and that's why we click to each other. He's a nice guy and he has a big heart for people. He's been helping.
আমার তো ফিলিংস তো কোনো জিনিস হারিয়ে গেলে নতুন করে পেলে কীরকম আনন্দ হয়, আমার সেরকম আনন্দ আমি এখন ঈশ্বরের কাছে প্রচণ্ড দমে আমি খুব হ্যাপি, আমার ফুলফিল হয়েছে সব স্বপ্ন।
Definitely, it's one of my, dream to see, just like God has changed me. That same power, even along with my testimony, can change another pimp or a prostitute to leave their, trap, to come out. So, yeah, I'm open to be used and share and reach out to them. And that's what we are going for, one step at a time.
But I'm not the same.